Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. If you want to watch me live stream every single day in my Discord, feel free to click the WAP link in the description. It's very, very cheap compared to most. I would say most, but all Discords. I don't think anyone else is cheaper than me. But I live stream and teach every single day, so I teach live. Okay. The other thing is, if you want to practice any of the strategies I'm kind of teaching on on anything other than a demo account, because demo account doesn't really have any motion, then click the Apex link in the description. Really good practice. I literally practiced on so many accounts to get where I am today. So feel free to click that if you want, and they'll run you how to set that up and everything. Okay, so this video I'm going to be going over how I disregard an SMT. Okay, and this is a video where this is kind of a newer topic for even myself, but this is something that I've been paying attention to recently. So if you ever wonder, like, okay, how do you long or how do you short if we have a bullish SMT? Like, how do you know to short if we have the bullish SMT? Okay, and I'm going to use today's price to kind of show this. So today, what you can see earlier is this. So see how ES takes out the low here, okay, and then NQ doesn't really take out the low until after ES does. So we can see at, let's see what time this is. We can see at exactly 10:25 ES takes out the low, but at 10:25 NQ is still up here. Well, how do I know to keep shorting even though there's potentially a bearish SMT or bullish SMT, right? If I see a bullish SMT here, or how do I know to keep shorting? You really know to keep shorting if you get bearish price structure. Okay, and there's going to be two ways. I'm going to talk about this in two ways. So this way right here is something where I'd still hold runners here, but I wouldn't reshort. Let's say it wasn't a position here. I wouldn't reshort because at this point, there's a potential SMT. I'm not going to reshort. But if I was in a position, I wouldn't stop out because there is a bearish SMT. Or bull. I keep saying bearish. I mean bullish for SMT. I was kind of drawn out. Okay, and the reason why I wouldn't stop out here yet is because is there anything telling us we're going to go back up based off the SMT? Okay, no, there's not. We formed the fair value gap here. We're still below it. There's really nothing to tell me that I should get out of my runners if I'm still in. Okay, the only way I'd get out here with a bullish SMT is if we trade back above this gap. Okay, but if I wasn't in a position, I would not short at this point because there's no reason to short with a potential bullish SMT when ES already hit the low. Okay, so you can see ES at the low, right? And at this point, in this situation specifically, I would hold runners, but I would not enter the position if I was already in one because there's nothing turning bullish on NQ anyways. Okay. Now, if we go to yesterday or earlier today, or no, it was right here. Okay. In this example, ES forms a high. Okay, and then NQ is a high, same spot. Okay, how can you know to enter here if you're not already positioned and kind of know that the SMT is not going to play out? Okay, this is important. So we have the high right there. So you can see right here at this vertical line, ES hits a high, NQ doesn't. How will I know if price is going to keep going up here rather than to get a short setup? It's all has to do with the PD arrays. So you can see when price hits this high in ES and price does not hit this high in NQ, I see that and I'm like, okay, there could be an SMT here. But then we get this candle right here with the volume imbalance, and I know some of you probably don't know what a volume imbalance is, but pretend like this is the fair value gap. Okay, so this is another PD array ICT teaches. Maybe you don't know it, maybe you don't. But when you see this volume imbalance at their potential SMT going to the upside, the chances that this SMT are going to work to the downside, the chances this bearish SMT is going to play out is very unlikely now that we have a new bullish PD array, a new bullish order block, because when you see that, okay, and NQ still hasn't hit the high, then I would expect this to play out. okay, because we're getting whole new price structure with another new bullish PD array. See how this bullish PD array is formed after this high hits? Okay, so it's formed after the high hits. So this tells me, okay, there's nothing to be afraid of. This SMT probably won't play out because NQ just gave another long entry. And even if you don't want to guess in live time is this going to work, just based off this reaction itself, like this candle and even this candle just tells you, okay, we just bounced off this PD array. Even though this is kind of high long, you still know this high is probably going to hit and this SMT won't play out just because of the reaction you see from this volume imbalance. Okay, so does that make sense? Right? So just in that situation alone, when you see something like that, okay, you know the S&P is probably not going to play out. Okay, live example right here. This is the last example I'm going to go over. ES, let's just say ES took out this low, probably will in a second. You can see there's a potential SMT here if ES takes that slow and NQ doesn't. However, what if price stops here, NQ kind of goes up, there's a potential SMT, but then we reject here and then get a new fair value gap right here. Okay, what if we get a new fair value gap right there? Then I'd expect that SMT to not to fail and us for to hit this low. Because if we come up here and we reject this fair value gap after ES takes out the low and there's a potential SMT, and we get a new fair value gap and whole new structure right here, which pretend this is the fair value gap, then I know this SMT isn't going to play out because we just got a whole new fair value gap and NQ telling us, okay, we're going to go down to this low. So in this situation, let's pretend ES took out the low here, and let's pretend NQ goes back up, rejects this, and then we get a whole new structure and a whole new fair value gap here. Well, then I know what was an SMT before will probably not be an SMT anymore because we just got a whole new structure shift and a whole new structure saying, okay, now we're going to go to this low again. Okay, and I think if you had to take away one thing from the video, it would be this. Okay, if you see like a SMT, small retracement, you're like, oh, the SMT is going to play out. But no, we get a whole new price leg. Okay, same example happened yesterday. If we look at yesterday on ES, this is going to be the last one, I promise. So yesterday, I think it was up here at lunch. See how we hit low a day here in ES. Okay, we hit low a day at, what time was this? We hit low a day at 1326. Where did we read 1326 in NQ? And 1326 in NQ, we did not hit low a day, so we had a potential SMT here. And at this point, these are the fair value gaps that hit the low. Okay, right here. These are the fair value gaps that hit this low in ES. So we're not expecting these to work, especially if there's an SMT. Okay, but then you can see price consolidate a little bit. We get a long setup here, which I did take. And then as soon as you see these two red candles right here, with a fair value gap, and as soon as you see this violated, that tells me immediately, I'm like, okay, even though we had an SMT over here, even though we had the SMT right here, we're getting a whole new structure now at this point telling us, okay, we're going to go back down again. So it was once an SMT before. Now I'm expecting the SMT to break once I see this price action, because you can clearly see this price action. It purges liquidity, right? Purges high pretty quickly. We reject from this, and now he forms a new, fresh fair value gap. So that new fresh fair value gap is telling me, okay, now the old SMT is probably going to get ran through. Okay, and if you didn't know it then, you would have known it with this candle right here, because it's like a whole new structure saying, okay, now with this old SMT, this is new fresh structure telling us, okay, now we're going to go hit this low. The only time you want to be careful with the SMT is right when we actually hit it, because right when we hit this ES low and NQ doesn't, you just want to scale more than usual, because sometimes before we get that new bearish fair value gap and new bearish structure here, we'll retrace more than you want. Okay, and that which might cause you to stop out. Okay, so I think the big thing to take away from this video is when we get that new structure, like hours later after the SMT actually formed, you know that SMT is going to fail. Okay, but if we don't get that new bearish structure like 20, 15 minutes later, depending on what time frame you're on, then the SMT is going to keep working, right? So if you're ever scared, you should be scared of shorting here, okay? If you're not already in position, you don't short here just because of the potential SMT. But you should not be afraid of shorting here, because after the SMT kind of played out a little bit, we retraced at the SMT. We get whole new bearish structure here. So now you should expect the SMT to fail. Okay, and I think that's the biggest takeaway you got to take away from this video. Okay. But yeah, it can get complicated, but that's something I've been realizing lately. Okay, and you might have to rewatch this last 5 minutes of this video twice to understand what I was saying there. But what I just said is very important. If you still want to get an entry and maybe you're not already in and you're scared of a potential SMT, you know. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I would probably rewatch the last like 3 or 4 minutes just to see what I said about that. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys enjoy. And yeah, peace out.